Welcome back to another episode of R&R with RTZ with your host, Ariba Azad. I got to see Kiss of Life, a K-pop group, live and got to meet them.
Rahib and Tuhin, and I am still stuffed from this past weekend's Friendsgiving.
This is Prithvi, and the P is for mustard!
You didn't pass grade school. P is not for mustard. And I'm your other host, Rahib and Tuhin, and I went to a garage sale for a video production company. I bought a bunch of shit for free, honestly. Let's get into it. Today we're talking about the new Linkin Park album that came out, their reemergence.
Rahib's going to cry.
I'm going to cry. We're going to cry a lot. And then get some more stories out from Am I the Asshole? Reddit stories. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Hit it!
Rest and relax while we rant and ramble. R&R with RTZ.
All right.
So, Linkin Park, are we going to a park or something? Oh
No.
my God,
This
guys.
is why I don't look at you during the podcast. You'll see the disappointment in my
Look
face.
at me.
No.
But I like parks. Are we taking the dogs?
All right. No. Got made it worse.
So, guys, Linkin Park is a group that Rahib is obsessed with. It's his Ariana Grande. Yes.
It's his. I've never heard
His
that.
Ariana.
That's how she relates to
Before for
everything.
Linkin Park.
On a scale of 0 to Ariana Grande, how much do you like this thing,
Yeah.
this topic?
Well, because if it's Ariana Grande level, I understand the tears. I understand the commitment. I understand the screaming that I heard when the album came out. Oh, my goodness. This man's. Anyway.
Well, so Tuhin actually introduced me to Linkin Park, so I'll let him start the
Can
intro
we,
this thing.
Can we actually start from like the
Give us the
very,
history,
very
the
beginning?
LP.
Yeah,
The
like
history of how it all happened.
How it all
the-
happened.
The addiction.
Yeah.
So for me, I was around 10 years old, so this is like 2000. Didn't have like, so this is like before I had interest in music per se. Like people were into like boy bands, but it wasn't cool to be into boy bands if you're a boy because it's kind of weird. And then like I didn't know anything about like rock music or hip hop at the time. And I was with my aunt, my Kala, in the car, and she was just listening to this one CD on repeat. And I was like, I have no idea what this is, but like it's catchy. Like after a few times, you're just like, oh, I'm kind of like grooving with this. And then finally, like I asked her, I was like, what is this? And it's like, this is Linkin Park. Right, 2000s, right? They just released their first album, Hybrid Theory.
Oh, wow.
So very new, completely fresh, and it was like, okay, this is different, right? Like, I haven't heard anything like this before. It's rock, it's hip hop, it's a little mix of everything. My 10-year-old brain was just like blown.
This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and then essentially it was that, because then like I got a burned copy of the CD because it was like 2000s, right? And then and I made everybody listen to it. I made like my parents listen to it. I made my cousins listen to it, which eventually got some of them into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just been an obsessed fan ever since. Through all the, I was that kid in school who would like defend the band every time a new album come out, right? Because everyone's like, "Oh, they suck now." I'm like, "No, you don't understand, right?" I was that
You
guy.
don't get it now.
You don't get it. So
But they got a lot of hate because their music was different every album, right?
you'd
So
always
every
have.
thing- I guess.
They're really known for innovating their sound. But people really liked what their first two albums were with the rocket and rap mix. But then every album they changed their sound because they wanted to. That's what their thing
That's
was.
what musicians are
And
allowed
their
to
genre,
do.
they call themselves new metal, and so they always wanted to innovate.
Well,
and
the
innovate.
new metal term doesn't come from them, and most people that get lumped into new metal hate the term new metal because it's like a generalizing term. I think like some journalist from Rolling Stones was like, "I'm gonna create a word to describe all these bands that don't fit the original like genres," and so they're like new metal.
So
But
what
then
iTunes does with alternative.
what did all these bands have in common? Just like a
that was the thing. Like they were all
Overall.
just so different from like
Oh.
the grunge and metal of previous years that they were like, we don't know how to categorize these bands, so we're just gonna throw them all into new metal.
So what made them similar is that they were different from
Yeah,
everything else. So they had to
but
give
then
them
that
a
was the
different
issue
name.
because like bands like Linkin Park don't sound like System of a Down, doesn't sound like
right.
Red Hot Chili Peppers or like other like Rage Against the Machines. Like they're all very vastly different sounding bands, but like because there's like some similar through line of like, oh, they're mixing rock with funk or rock with rap, we're just gonna call them new metal. And so yeah, a lot of people hated that term because then they get like pigeonholed into like this idea of like what new
Lazy,
metal should be.
right?
Yeah. So like,
that's what kind of happened with Linkin Park. People loved their first 2 albums,
yeah.
and so they expected that from every album they get. And then Minutes to Midnight came out,
weren't
and
allowed to
they
change.
did more sounds, they did more mellow stuff, smoother stuff, and people were like, oh my god, no, Linkin Park sucks now.
Yeah.
Bring back Hybrid Theory, bring back Meteoria, and then they said, no, we're gonna keep doing our stuff. Then they released the next album, and then that kept snowballing. There were always more and more haters and stuff. But it comes with everyone who innovates their sound, I'm sure.
Real fans love them no matter what.
More haters and more fundamentalists.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have your fundamentalist groups.
The OG Linkin
The
Park
OG,
fans, quote unquote fans. Yeah. But then so that's how I got into it too, because like I didn't have my music as growing up as a child was Disney Channel, whatever's on Nickelodeon TV, because that's the thing. Because when we grew up in a conservative Muslim family,
Wholesome.
that was like no music allowed.
Yeah.
So we had to,
Yeah.
that's what we listened to. So I was like Jonas Brothers was my band. That was my music.
Aw.
And then Tuhin gave me my first iPad.
Little Rahib sitting in his living
I'm
room watching
burning
Jonas
up,
Brothers.
burning
Tuhin comes
up.
in with Hybrid Theory.
He's like,
Rock your
"Ooh."
world.
Like the glass
Oh my
shattering
gosh.
in the background. That's pretty much what happened. He gave me his like old iPod Touch or iPod Nano back
Oh
when
my
those things
God.
were the only way to get music. And then it was loaded up with his music with his Linkin Park. I was like, what is this?
You're
Yes,
what
yes.
you're what parents are always worried about. The cousin that turns the other cousins.
The punk music.
The punku. My mom would
The
call it punku.
punku?
My mom's like, don't be a punku.
Punku.
Don't be a punku. Don't listen to punku music, which would be Linkin
That
Park.
sounds
in
kind of
this.
cute.
It is kind of
Yeah,
cute,
it
yeah.
is.
But she
Punku.
thought it was punku instead of punk, and I'm like, Mom. not a
So
Bollywood-
embarrassing,
I
Mom.
know, Mom, we're not a Bollywood
God.
movie.
The scene here, the band.
So embarrassing.
Oh
Mom.
my god. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I think all of my brothers all got into the same way, from just us playing it over and over.
That's interesting because my introduction to Linkin Park was also through an older cousin who put me onto it,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Nathan. And it was like the same kind of thing. He gave me like a little Walkman, had some
Yeah.
songs on it, and one of them was Faint,
Mhm.
and that was a song that
Yeah,
like got me into that.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's interesting to see like how Linkin Park, because of like each album is so different from each other, like you can see like the generational difference between like fans, like what album they like gravitate towards.
mm-hmm.
Because like I was getting a haircut from Nasib like 2 weeks ago, and he asked me about like, you know, what do you think of the new album and stuff like that, and then he's like, yeah, my favorite album was Living Things, which is a album that came out in 2011 2012. So like it's different because like for Nasib being his age and whatnot, that album was the one that like clicked for him.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty cool thing for
that
like,
time,
yeah, it was kind of cool for like, you know, just every era or every album just has a different fan base, you could say.
Yeah.
Like I think that's
Yeah.
great.
That makes sense.
That's also really prevalent with Kanye West conversations.
Right.
Like
Oh,
which
yeah.
album people say is their favorite is very indicative of like when they started
When they-
listening to
yeah.
it.
That makes that's what people say about Taylor Swift too.
Yeah.
Like which era that is your favorite
Any-
is
yeah.
usually
Like any
it tells a
artist
lot
that
about
has
Right.
that
yeah. Ariana too.
big discography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about like, unfortunately, rock bands don't get that like leniency. I would say is that when they try to do something different, people start hating. They immediately be like, "Oh, you sold out,"
Mm.
right? But when like Taylor Swift or like Ariana Grande does like a
They were technically
a
already
different
sold
album.
out. Yeah.
well, it's not even like a selling out. It's just like, oh, they're just trying out creatively new things or
Well,
being artistic.
in rock's like stereotypical way, they're supposed to be different, right? Like they're not supposed to sell out. They're not supposed to be mainstream.
Mm.
But whereas Ariana and Taylor Swift, they're already like mainstream. They're already what we would call sellouts. You know, they're making their music. They're making music to be on the radio. Whereas Linkin
Yeah.
Park's not making music to be on the radio.
I feel
I
like they
get-
wouldn't self-classify as sellouts.
well, no,
Yeah.
of course
So
not.
it's like
I'm
a-
saying like even as a fan, I could say.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is they're pop stars, so they do whatever's popular.
Yes.
So they change their sound to whatever's popular.
Yes.
Versus
Right.
rock and roll has a
They
very
don't have that,
specific
yes,
place
yeah.
and time in history
Yeah.
as to why rock and roll came out. It was a lot-
Yeah.
Punk rock was a lot about rebelling against whatever was.
Counterculture.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah.
being pop-ish or popular would be going against what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like just having that artistic freedom though is like for some reason frowned upon in like the rock world.
which is ironic. 'cause
Yeah, I
that
feel
was
like
the
that is
whole
also
thing,
a core
yeah.
tenet of rock.
Yeah,
right?
it
It's
Right.
definitely is. Yeah.
Mhm.
individualism.
I will say because two of Linkin Park's song went mainstream. That's how I heard of them and
Mhm.
became a somewhat fan. I would never say I'm like a diehard.
You don't like
guys.
Linkin Park?
No, bro.
Bro.
I'm not like you. I'm not a hater of Ariana Grande like you are. Okay, I like Linkin Park, but I'm not gonna go around saying I'm like, oh my god, yes, Linkin Park. I'm the biggest fan. I like their songs. They're great at what they do, and I would like to like more. But in the end, and those are the two that were always on the radio. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that was the thing that
And
set
the
them
Jay-Z
apart too.
version.
Transformers changed the game for people.
They are iconic
People's
with that.
perception of Linkin Park is just
I think
Right.
that movie brought a lot of more fans to Linkin
Yeah.
Park because
Me.
like it became a meme where like the Optimus Prime's ending speech and it ends with "What I've Done" playing in
Yeah.
the background. They pan to the sky and credits come and everything.
It's
Which
iconic.
honestly
It's iconic.
amazing moment.
That's a walkout. That's an iconic
I'm not a
walkout.
fan of the Transformers movies, but
Well-
like that is sick objectively.
The first movie was amazing.
First of all, Shia LaBeouf freaking beef.
Yeah,
Amazing.
the first movie
beef?
only was good
The
though.
beef?
The other ones were not. The first
No,
one.
I
was
liked
good.
all the Shia
It
LaBeouf
was a
movies.
good time in the
Yeah.
theater.
I don't like
I'll say
after
that.
they
Yes,
they
it
should have
was a
stopped
good
after
time in
the
the theater.
first three.
No, they
The-
should have stopped with the first two.
We don't
No,
talk about the
the-
CGI in the Transformers
The
movies
second
enough.
one wasn't
That was
that
amazing.
great. The third one was
First one
alright.
The first one was the
Amazing.
best. The first one was the only one that was really good.
First one's good because it was just like
It's also
visually
nostalgic.
The first one
stunning.
Yes.
had that
Yeah.
At the
one.
time,
I think
at the
Bumblebee
time, yeah.
peeing on one of the CIA agents or something.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In the first one?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
they could not get away with that these days.
I just
No,
remember
no.
it
Yeah,
being
they
the same
could.
Michael Bay formula of here's a hot female lead.
Oh yeah.
If it works,
Everybody
it
look
It
at her.
works, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why I loved it.
It did
My
put,
God, Megan Fox. I
Megan
wanted
Fox
to be
on the
her.
map.
Yeah. I wanted to be her when I watched that movie.
I think Jennifer's Body put her on the map.
No,
That wasn't until
Transformers.
much years.
I haven't even
later.
seen that movie, but the way people talk about it is
Yeah.
like
That's one of those things that became a cult classic. So people
Yeah.
talked about it way after it was released.
I think Jennifer's
So-
Body came out right after Transformers.
But
Like, it was just
Transformers
like,
was it?
when that first movie came out and people were like saw her, they're like, oh
Yeah.
damn.
And you have to
everyone
remember,
was like,
not
yeah,
everyone
okay.
watched Jennifer's Body because it was a horror, right? Wasn't it
Technically
scary?
a horror.
technically-
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
not a lot of people watched that. Me, but Transformers definitely fell in love with Megan Fox. I'm just
She
saying.
said me.
me.
Well, me,
Spotlight
Kanan,
effect.
like think of all the people that don't like scary movies that are normal human beings.
Why'd that turn off?
Why did I turn off?
Mr. Scary Ghost.
Scary gun.
As we talk about horror
Stanley?
movies.
Maybe the battery died on that. That's all right. It's still
Still
recording.
recording.
Still
Yeah.
recording, right?
Oh, we hope
That red light's
so.
on that. So
Yeah. So yeah.
That's
That's
recording
on
me.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you saying?
Talking about Transformers.
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 Megan Fox, amazing,
Megan Fox.
Say less.
beautiful
Say less.
horror
Lord
movies.
of-
Related to Megan Fox, that she's with Machine Gun Kelly, who did like 2 rock albums after his like rap career and stuff.
Wait,
it
she
was
was
funny.
a rapper?
What?
MGK.
I thought he was only a rocker.
Oh God.
What?
Oh.
What?
I don't
Nah,
know.
dude,
I don't
his
listen to him
first-
like that. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
He was a
Whatever.
rapper. I thought he was a rocker.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I thought-
Bars?
no, I thought he was like
Chat, is
Avril
that a
Lavigne
bar?
type of rocker.
No, he went into the punk rock after he did like 2 rap
Oh.
albums or 3 rap albums, and it got really popular after he did I think during the pandemic he did a cover of Misery Business, and I was like, oh my God, he can actually sing and do rock music, whatever. And then he started releasing music, and he did his first single, Bloody Valentine, with Megan Fox in the music video. That went really popular, and so he just committed to that and did that. But because he did that whole thing, this is after his debacle with Eminem. People were like, oh my God,
That was the
Eminem
joke.
crushed him so much that
Yeah.
he switched genres.
Yeah.
Now he's doing rock music.
Oh,
And then back to that whole mainstream sellout kind of stuff, which is his like 6th or his 2nd rock album title is Mainstream Sellout.
Mm.
People called him a sellout because he stopped making rap music. He went to do rock music. So, now you're a sellout. Now you're making rock music and pop rock music or whatever,
Yeah.
which is ironic, again, because it's kind of the opposite of what punk rock is, what pop
Yeah.
punk was, and everything.
I will say his songs now are better than what they were before. I didn't even remember him making music before.
How'd you know his music before?
I just know his name. Everyone talked about him here and there. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was a rapper. He's a rocker.
His recent stuff's more back to the rap stuff though. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I was listening to some of it in the gym.
Yeah, he
a
just
little
goes
bit
back
more-
and
You
forth. He
pumping
just
that iron,
does whatever.
Trying
getting buff
to get bull.
for the winter cuffing season.
It's bulking
What?
season.
Bulking season.
Cuffing season. Yeah, you bulk up for the cuffing. You can hold on to the girl harder.
Whoa.
I always get confused between MGK and Travis Barker sometimes. Like it's not
It doesn't
always,
help
but,
that
like,
they've worked together a lot.
Yeah.
Travis Barker produces.
Like I was
He
every
has a
just fact
skinnier
checking
head.
something before I
thing.
said it. I was like, no, that wasn't it.
They
He
are
has a skinnier
two
head.
tall white men covered in
Yes.
tattoos that do rock music.
But
so.
Travis has a skinnier head.
But they're more than that, and I owe them that much at least.
Wow, so deep. So kind
You care so much.
So
it's the same as like South Indian names. All sometimes sound similar, so I don't want to be put in a.
I would never make
Yeah.
that kind of mistake. You should always give.
It was a clear example earlier today, right?
I don't recall, but same thing.
Wait, what happened earlier?
Earlier, before the pod, I said something about that one politician.
We're just talking about
Indian politician.
like the Trump stuff, the Doge office of government,
Department of Government Efficiency,
Okay.
which is head by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Or he had a tongue twister and he like switched the syllables in his name.
I was like, yeah, Rami Vivekswamy, right?
Oh no!
Yeah, that's his name, right?
That was
Wow, and when I do that, I'm racist. Okay.
Oh yeah, because she is.
No, I am not. No, see, you're not allowed to have the buttons. You are not allowed to have the buttons anymore. First, we turn that shit around.
This is Oz in the behind the thing with all the controls.
Oh my God, wicked, guys! It was so good. Ariana Grande played Galinda. Like, she did not play herself.
You gotta say why it was good without mentioning Ariana.
Okay, fine.
Grande.
I'll tell you why it was good without.
Then
her.
I'll believe you.
No.
Oh,
Fine.
Can she do it?
Yes, I will. The
Can she
set
do
designs,
it?
the set designs for every single scenery, whether it was the school, Emerald City, or Munchkinland, was so well done. Every little detail was so well done. The characters, even the side characters, had like each of their acting was so good. They played their part really well. Cynthia, her voice, oh my gosh. Her acting voice, just her normal speaking voice, I didn't realize was so beautiful. But when she sings, I cried so hard just from her voice. And they sang live when they recorded the film. So every single song that you hear that Ariana and Cynthia do, either like by themselves or together, is completely live. And like they changed like some sort of microphone thing that you should know like the technical terms for, but I bet you don't because
No, there's some person in a green suit.
no,
right
but
next
like
to them the whole
it's
time.
so
They
it's
just
so
edited them out.
amazing. But then like all the acting was good. All the costume designs were really, really well done. There's actually apparently a lot of Easter eggs if you're a huge Wicked or Wizard of Oz fan. So I don't know a lot of them, but a lot of other people do. And even my coworker who went with me was like, yeah, there was just so many different Easter eggs. And total spoiler alert, so I'm going to say it anyways because I know none of you are going to watch it, but the original Galinda,
Spoilers.
the original Galinda and the original Alphaba from the Broadway musical do a cameo in the Emerald City.
I love when they do things like that.
It was, I gasped. The whole,
actors
like,
from
yes, it was amazing. Yes.
Boots.
It's so cool. And like the entire theater, they gasped. Like it was iconic. They sang as well. And it was just really, really good. And that's on top of everything Ariana Grande did. So like, oh my God, it was so good.
Mentioned.
But yeah, okay.
I heard some interesting things, like more critiques of it that were more in the technical terms. One, the movie was very color flat, meaning that it wasn't as
Really?
colorful as
I did
movies
see
back
it
in the day.
on
A lot
Twitter,
more
there was
gray, a
like
lot more
side-by-side.
tan. And then
Oh yeah.
two, apparently there was sound issues. I don't know if your theater had that, but apparently the director of the movie said, hey, tell your movie theater to raise their sound levels up to 7 instead of 6.4 or whatever they usually have it. And it's like, they're not getting the sound right. And everyone's like saying like, that usually means that you didn't cut the audio
post-production,
correctly in
yeah.
post-production, not the
Oh.
movie theater's fault.
Interesting.
Right.
So
It
that's getting a
sounded
flack
fine
on
to
that.
me.
Yeah, so that was a
Yeah.
really weird thing to say. I never heard of a director say, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, the movie theaters don't play the sound right. Tell them to raise the volume. That's
Huh.
That's
That's
the difference
weird.
might not have been
Strange kind of-
noticeable, but that's
yeah.
still like a
I never heard of that.
weird issue in
Yeah.
post.
Imagine Michael Bay saying the explosions weren't poppy enough. Tell the movie theater to rank it up.
We need to
Yeah.
blow some
I
shit
heard
up in
that
the
a lot
theater.
of musical theater people who are into all sorts of musical theater thought the way that they told the story was really well done, and that the second part is they're anticipating it to be just as amazing. Like they
Yeah.
got every single song, every single storyline part here, there. They did add a little bit more of the Emerald City, which some fans are like, oh, why'd you add so much extra stuff? But like they wanted to, let you see what you couldn't have seen on Broadway.
yeah. Are musicals making a comeback? 'Cause there was
Musicals
also,
have never gone away. Musicals have
I mean,
always been a thing.
There was
What's
Joker.
Yeah, that was for some reason a musical. But I mean, it's
I don't know.
pretty
That was
ironic,
it was like a one-off try experiment thing, and
Yeah.
it kind of just fell
I mean,
flat.
the
I just
the
feel like
ratings
I've
speak
been
for
hearing
itself.
about movies.
What's another
coming out
musical
as
that's been
musicals?
coming out? I mean, Greatest Showman was the biggest one. I want to say.
No, La La Land was huge.
La La Land
Oh,
was
man.
that was before Greatest Showman.
Oh,
Those
was
are
it?
those
Okay.
are a little bit further back.
I think
now.
Yeah.
every now and then a
Maybe it's just
musical
those
comes.
two.
Well,
and
this
gets
one,
famous.
Wicked,
Yeah.
is the
Must
most
just be-
recent one.
Right.
The-
I would say
Brain
this
for
is
some
rare for a musical to get this popular.
Yes.
Last one was probably La La Land, and that won awards.
And Cats, but
This
for a
one-
different reason.
Right.
That won some
Well,
other stuff.
Wicked has now gotten, I think, like 116 million in the box office on opening day or whatever, which is a record for a musical, and is number one internationally
That's sick.
at something a little bit higher than that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw the soundtrack was like charting really high.
Oh my
Can't believe they beat Red One. The Rock is gonna be so mad.
god.
With like musicals, like I don't know how often they go in the there's always like movies that get turned into musicals, right? Like Lion King, stuff like that. But like
Mm.
in the opposite direction, I don't know how
Movies
often
into musicals.
or
Musicals
into
turned
movies.
into movies.
Oh,
Right.
Oh,
I
so
don't
like
know.
yeah.
Cats is
Was
like
Annie-
one
I
of
mean,
those
there's a lot of.
Was Annie a musical first?
that I don't know.
I mean, like Broadway?
I don't think so.
I think it happens more often than not. I know. Definitely a lot of plays that turn into movies.
Mm.
Right.
They give it a bigger budget and stuff.
Wicked was a book first.
That's true too.
Yeah?
Wicked was a book.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, it's true.
I
Wow.
don't know.
Now we gotta watch Gladiator 2. Make this a glicked conversation.
Kid.
This is not a Barbie.
Did they have a special popcorn bucket for that?
I think
Was
For
it like a
Wicked?
Roman
yes, they
cup?
did.
Oh,
They
Wicked?
did. I
What-
didn't get that, but I got
Oh.
the icy color change cup.
What was
was
the
the popcorn?
popcorn bucket?
It was just both of them on either
Ariana's
side.
mouth.
No. It was just both of their. No, it wasn't weird. It was just their faces on either end. What's wrong with you? I would have bought that. What is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
he would have too.
Oh yeah, he would have. We would have bought two and have them in bed with us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's a time and place.
Nice.
And that's the time and that's the place.
No, I
Yeah.
would keep it in the corner of the room and put a light under it so it looked like it's like eyes are shining. And when you wake up from your nightmares and see it in the corner, I want it to be your paralysis demon.
Man.
It never will be
Yeah.
because it's Ariana. Speaking of paralysis demon, I found this creepy baby doll face thing from a card that I had apparently, and I put it in his production room and to freak him out. He got really scared. It was great. Yes, you did.
Really scared.
You
Didn't
did.
happen.
He literally said
That
this to me
didn't
through
happen.
nightmares.
It's okay if you were.
Yeah. Why are you so scared to say you're scared? Scaredy cat.
I'm scared of the lies you're spewing.
Mm-hmm. I have receipts, literally.
Anyway, back to Linkin Park.
I was like, we never finished that.
Yeah, we never finished
Oh, I
that.
thought we were done.
Derail with your wicked conversation.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
That was like Transformers. I think I derailed.
you should not have control of that.
You don't think that's impeccable timing. Anyway,
Finally, it only took 100 podcasts.
so what was the timeline of Linkin Park? First album came out 2000.
Real quick, also, where the name Linkin Park is that
Yeah.
from?
How did it come
Is that a
about?
reference? I know there's like a
So-
Linkin Park in Chicago.
So
probably
the
know.
so this kind of ties into the actual new album as well. So before Linkin Park was famous, they were called Zero, Xero. That was
Oh.
more or less Mike Shinoda and his friend Mark. I can't remember his last name. And they did the
Wahlberg.
Mark something. I can't remember his name right now.
Like that. Mark Wahlberg?
Not a Wahlberg though.
Marky Mark.
Nah. Marky Mark,
Marky
who also
Mark
was
with
a musician.
Marky
yeah.
Mark and Mike Shinoda. My God.
That would be a
What
weird
kind of
combo.
alternative reality nonsense is that?
So you had Zero, and then as they got popularity, they changed their name to Hybrid Theory when Mark decided that he was more into like the business, like the musical business, versus like actually being a performer. Then Chester Bennington joined the band, drove in from Arizona, I think is where he's from. They went with Hybrid Theory as the name, but then there was like a trademark issue or something like that, so they couldn't use Hybrid Theory. And then they changed the name to Linkin Park. I think that came about randomly, like what's a name, and they saw a park, and it was like Linkin Park. But then the spelling, that's Linkin, was because when they were trying to like register the website for Linkin Park, they couldn't because it was already a well-used name. So then like we'll just change the spelling of it, and then that became Linkin Park.
Nice.
That messed me up for years.
What?
Abraham Lincoln had a band?
I fucking no.
What?
I spelled Abraham Lincoln wrong for so
Because of Linkin Park?
long.
Did you spell it Linkin?
Yes.
Wow.
Motherfuckers.
That's actually, I think that's respect to, you know.
Oh no, yeah, I liked them enough where that stuck in my head and not Lincoln's actual spelling.
This is
All right,
why we
keep
need
going.
schools.
Open up the schools.
Let's go.
I'm a teacher,
And
guys.
in textbooks, they're just going to change the spelling
Yeah.
for Lincoln now.
That's what we should have done in honor.
Yeah. But then timeline. So you had Hybrid Theory in 2000. You had Meteor in 03. Minutes to Midnight was
I want to say
2006, 2007, somewhere around that
Yeah,
point.
I was in middle school. I remember. I walked into shop class, and this one kid was like, "Hey, you like the Linkin Park album?" I was like, "No,"
Why'd you say no?
Because it was different.
because it was different.
Oh.
And I was a
Oh,
huge
you were a
fan. I was
hater.
disappointed. 'Cause I didn't like it at
Yeah.
first.
You're a hater.
It took me a minute
And then
to midnight.
Someone take that away from him.
and then after Minutes to Midnight was 1,000 Suns, which was 2010, 2011, 2010, I think. That was the album that like I think polarized me the most because I was like, this is
That
so
was
different.
Probably the most different.
But
album.
then after a few listens, I was like, I love this album. It's actually probably like my top 1, 2 in that range. After 1,000 Suns was Living Things
yeah.
in 2012, and then you had The Hunting Party
So
in,
many.
That was
in
a crazy
2015,
album.
which that's one of my top.
That's
My
one of
top
my
two
tops, yeah.
is Hunting Party and Living or
What's the
1,000 Suns.
average of tracks on each album? 13, 12, 9?
12
Pretty
to
average, yeah,
15,
down
but
there.
like there's like some
12
like
to 15.
intros and like
Yeah,
little
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that as well.
Still, that's a lot.
Most of their albums are like 30 to 35 minute long. Like they're not very
Yeah.
long albums.
Does it blow your mind that they can make so many?
I mean, it was like
songs
2 years
and-
apart.
Still, that's
more
a
or
lot of
less.
albums.
I think that's pretty standard.
It's a pretty good amount.
I think a lot of artists these days do a
Mm.
lot more frequently.
And just
Every
Yeah.
6 months
they
they
have
release
like
an album.
unreleased.
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
And then so with Hunting Party, me and you went to that concert,
Yeah.
Carnivore's tour
At the,
in 2012.
Jiffy Lube.
Yeah.
My first time seeing Linkin Park. That was probably not your
My
first.
fourth time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's your Ariana Grande.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, not
definitely.
yours. It's
I
your
had the money. I just work at CVS.
He
Leave
was
me
just a wee
alone.
boy.
Just a
Well,
wee
I mean, I got lucky. My first concert was in 2004 that my aunt took me to.
yeah.
And
the
then-
aunt that we're going with, right?
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is who we're going with, like they all took me at separate times, so us all going together is an interesting.
Oh, that's
kinda-
so wholesome.
Yeah, because my
Good
Kala
call, but no.
Kala and Kalu took me 2004. Then my Chota Mama took me 2007, 2008. And then me and him went 2015. And so for this show that we're going to next year, it's like everyone together.
Yeah.
Aw.
And like my cousins who are much younger on my mom's side as well that are coming with us. So it's like a generational thing happening. So it's kind of cool.
That's
sick.
so sweet.
Yeah.
Generation of no one knowing how to spell Lincoln.
Everyone with their own favorite album. Everyone with their
Yeah.
own. But
Everyone's
Same
own
reason.
experience. Why not?
All of us
So-
illiterate.
So after Hunting Party was One More Light, 2017, and then tragically Chester Bennington passed away later that year. So you've had like 7 years of like hiatus per se, and then you have this year with the album From Zero with their new. I don't want to say it's like a new lead singer, but like
New to the band, because
New to the
she has
band.
her own band or had her own band, and
yeah.
she's known for that.
Emily Armstrong has her own band called Dead Sarah. She's been in the industry for like 20 years as in a rock band. But she's still younger than like Linkin Park, like a few years younger, not like massive age gap. But yeah, essentially Linkin Park reformed this year with 4 of the original members, and then Emily as the singer, and then Colin Britton as the drummer, he's well known in the music production world because he's produced a lot of like big hits for other artists and bands and stuff like that. He and Mike Shinoda had a good working group, and he's like, hey, you want to like join the band, as we either need someone to play drums or someone to tour as a guitarist. And Colin, being like a young guy who's a huge fan of Linkin Park, he's like, yeah, drums is my first instrument. I would love to drum. And so that essentially became the new lineup of Linkin Park.
Well,
Mm.
when was it? It was in September. They had that live stream concert where they announced
I think it
everything.
was like September.
September, October.
Just cried.
Yeah, so
I cried.
I saw it on Twitter. I was like, what do you mean Linkin Park's back with a surprise concert? I played it on. I'm on my bed. My feet are up like a little girl on her crush, talking to her crush. My feet are in the air, gangling. I'm like watching the video. I'm like, oh my God. I got the biggest smile. And then they played like that one song, like Leave Out All the Rest, I think. And I started bawling. I was like, no. No! So I'm crying. And then every other second I'm either crying or yelling, "We're so back, baby!"
I was so scared.
And we're so back, and then crying.
I like run upstairs, hearing him screaming. I'm like, "What's happening?" He's like, "We're back, we're back." And I'm like, "What's back?" And yeah, it was terrifying. Did you guys think ever in a million years, in these 7 years that they've been in a hiatus, that they would ever come back?
I thought they wouldn't come back.
I didn't think so.
Because
So
after
this is mind blowing.
yeah, because after everything happened and they and rightfully so went on their hiatus, Mike Shinoda did his own music and stuff. What'd you do?
I spilled a little bit.
You spilled it.
Pepsi.
This man spilled Pepsi on my white couch. No, it's fine.
It's fine. Just rub.
These were from a model house. Oh yeah, so yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Now back
The
to
excitement.
our.
Yeah, the excitement. No, I can't even tell. It's fine. So yeah, even after the whole thing, Mike still made music and he released it under his own like solo album and stuff. We even went to a Mike Shinoda concert
Oh,
at the Fillmore. Yeah, a
that
few years
too.
after all that happened. That was pretty fun. That was a good one.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
It was like just seeing him in a small venue, and he
Yeah.
did play a few Linkin Park songs. That was
Yeah.
a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. I thought that was the closest we would get, and I was fine with that and stuff. So I was
Mm.
very surprised that any of this happened.
Yeah.
Because he released like 2 albums or 2 projects after.
He did the Post Traumatic album under his name,
Yeah.
which was basically an album that was like a concept album of like grief and whatnot after your best friend dies essentially. Which had a lot of guest performances. One being MGK. He rapped on one of the songs
When he was a rapper, not a rocker.
before the rock stuff. That's
A
true.
rapper rocker.
What was that?
Rapper rocker.
I like that eye contact, guys.
And then and then he was doing a lot of like production work. Like he was producing for a lot of artists. He produced that one Demi Lovato song for Scream. He's also in that music video too for Scream.
Which song is that?
Demi Lovato's
off a rock album, right? That
Yeah, it was
kind
on
of
the,
emo album.
But
she
what
did?
song is it?
I don't remember the name of the song.
Oh, I don't know.
It was on the Scream movie. I just don't remember the name
I
of the
don't
song.
remember which song was in the Scream movie.
Um,
Oh man, that bothers me. I want to know.
yeah,
Gotta
so
find
he did
out.
that.
Yeah, I'll find
And then
out.
he also did a song with like as himself with another artist for Scream as well. So he was on there twice.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember that. Yeah.
And then he produced for a lot of younger artists coming up. I can't think of any other names right now, but a lot of
Yeah. People know him as usually the rapper, but he has a lot of production credits.
he's
talented.
produced a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's essentially what I thought of Linkin Park. It was like they released anniversary albums. They did like Hybrid Theory
Yeah,
Anniversary,
yeah.
Meteora. They did the kind of greatest hits kind of thing. So I just thought that was going to be Linkin Park from now on. And
So-
then before their they did their little online troll thing before the concert.
What was that?
So like before the concert announcing the new band, they put up a countdown on their like social media.
Okay.
And it count down from like 100 hours to like 0. So everyone's like waiting for it to count down to 0. It counts down to 0, and they're like, okay, something's gonna happen. They're gonna announce something, and it starts counting back up again. And people are just like, what the
Wow.
hell?
Zero.
Oh.
Yeah. So it starts counting back up again, and then people were like, there's like super fans online who like figured out like the number when it was counting up, it glitched at like a certain time at like 9 something. And people were like, oh, 9:20, that must be the date that they're going to actually do something. And that was the
I
date.
love
that
fans
day.
like that figure it out for
Yeah.
us.
Crazy.
Yeah, so then that was the date that they did their show that
Yeah.
introduced Emily and Colin.
See, that's a
Wow.
rollout. That's a
That's a
proper
rollout. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was even greater because like their first song they did was "Emptiness Machine," right?
right.
On
Off the new
concert,
album.
off
Yeah.
the new album. The song starts with Mike Shinoda singing. Right, it's just him and the 4 regular members of the band that returned. They're doing the whole thing live, and then that's the first verse into the chorus. The second chorus is when Emily, the new singer, comes in, and so the actual live concert. This is the first time the whole world's seeing her. She's walking into the venue, singing in the song. Everyone's like, "Who is this new voice? Who is this new person coming in?" And that's how they introduced the new lineup from Linkin Park. It was like
so cool.
beautifully
It was-
made into the song and
Yeah.
into the performance and everything. It was like genius.
He's gonna cry, guys.
It-
You can hear it in his voice.
I mean, I
It's
teared up.
genius.
It is
It's
genius.
genius.
That
Because it's
is,
also
yeah, it was beautifully done.
in the new album. That is the first song as
Mm.
well. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the From Zero album, it starts off with like there's like a 20-second like intro thing. I think it sounds like Mike talking to his son, just being like From Zero, and he's trying to figure out what the title is. And then it goes into Emptiness Machine, which then it's Mike singing and does the first verse and chorus, and then Emily kicks in, and then that's like the introduction of Emily into the new album. So overall, I mean, I like the new album.
I loved it. It's been on repeat
Yeah.
since it came out.
I'm bleeding out.
Shut the
So you know what I realized about Linkin Park lovers, though? You guys are like
That's actually the
quiet.
official name of the fan base.
Yeah, Linkin Park lovers.
LPLs.
LPLs. I like that. LPLs. But yeah, the Linkin Park lovers, they are like the straight face emotional boys. Like they're so emotional inside, but their face is like, I'm cool.
You
Yeah.
just found two people and just happened to go with that statement.
Yeah, too many. So exactly, it fits.
Well, if we're talking about Linkin Park fans, there's a lot of different types of fans.
Yeah,
And,
it
like,
sounds
There
like
it
the
is.
fan base has
yeah.
many different opinions, and it's
And
kind of
especially when
divided
they
saying it like that.
resurfaced
Some
this
ways.
last few months. There's a lot of controversy over their
polarizing.
decisions.
civil war.
Yeah. So like, there's been like about Emily, like people obviously had their differences with their choice of singer. People were like obviously like, oh, why are you even coming back at all? That's like dishonoring Chester's memory and stuff. All that was coming. So there were people saying that. People are saying there's also a lot of misogyny in the comments too. Like, oh, it's a woman.
Yeah.
Why are they bringing a woman?
Yeah.
Blah blah. She can't sing like a man. She can't scream like a man can. All that, bullshit like that. And then there's some crazy stuff they try to dig up and find something to cancel Emily over.
A reason.
Yeah.
To
Mhm.
moral high
Yeah,
ground.
yeah. So the two things they found was that she was apparently part of the Church of Scientology, and then she was friends with Danny Masterson, who was a convicted rapist. So they try to pin those on her, and people had to like do a fact check, and she had to come out, and she actually didn't really come out to say anything 'cause she didn't have to defend herself.
She just
over
did that
those.
one post, just
Yeah.
being like, I was asked to defend a friend in court, and then when I found out, I have like cut ties with them essentially. So
Yeah,
yeah,
And she was born into
Real
the
one.
Scientology thing. It wasn't a choice, right?
I think she was. I don't know.
she
was-
yeah.
I thought she was
essentially.
born
Born into
into it.
She was
I thought,
born into
I
it.
thought
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
told me. Someone told me
Um,
that.
Yeah, there was a recent video that I was watching. Like someone who also left Scientology wrote a book about her experience with Scientology, and she changed the names in the book, but essentially she stated who was Emily in the book.
Ah.
So like Emily was born into Scientology. Her mom, I think, was like the president of like the Council of Scientology of California or something like that.
Wow.
What is Scientology? Can you remind me? I know it's
It's
not a
like,
good group. It's not actual about science.
it's a
something else.
religion.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
religion.
religion.
They don't believe in like modern
Um,
medicine.
That's what it is. It's
or
a very
science. Ironically,
misleading
science.
name. It's a very
It's,
misleading name because it's called Scientology, but they don't follow. Yes.
I think it
Yeah.
has qualities of a cult also.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I know that much. I just didn't remember what specific thing they followed, which was that they don't do
It's a
Yeah,
modern
I think
medicine.
it's a lot of like very secret practices.
Yeah.
There's no transparency into like how they operate. and-
Mhm.
Yeah,
For some reason, Tom Cruise is in there. Actually, apparently a lot of celebrities.
a lot of
high-end
celebrities.
people are in
Apparently,
there.
so I once I think I asked ChatGPT this, like, can you explain Scientology to me in a simple way? And there's a lot to it, but basically, like some sci-fi writer from like the 50s, I think, came up with Scientology, and somehow that people gravitated towards the idea of his sci-fi idea.
Yeah.
Like it sounds really
Jesus did
weird.
that too. Yeah.
And then what?
What?
That's very different.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Um,
god, one of the dogs farted.
And so
damn.
like,
Okay,
Yeah.
Rahib, we know you
One of
did
the
it.
dogs.
For all the
Oh,
God!
yo! Why did it all come at the same time?
Hey yo!
No.
I'm not trying to shame, but I'm gonna shame one of you. One of you, who did it? Who did this?
Oh my god!
We
Bro,
took you
he
guys
has
out.
pointed right over here. I mean,
It must be the one that didn't poop.
Yeah.
which one is that one?
I walked them
Yuki.
earlier,
Oh.
and Yuki didn't poop. So
Oh
Oh.
my god!
Now
women, am I
now
right,
know-
boys?
Now we know why.
Is this the end of the podcast? Because I'm done.
Nah.
I'm ready to go.
We haven't even gotten to the other stuff.
Yeah.
yet.
it's going. It's gone.
Can we get going to the other stuff then? Because this is going. I'm gonna die. Someone help me, please.
What were you saying? Oh, yeah, Scientology. What is the definition of Scientology?
I don't know if there's a definition. I
Here,
just
I'm
know it's like a
gonna look it up.
religion.
Fact check.
But
Hey,
so
Jamie, can you look this? Yeah, I got
So anyhow, like in the book,
Hi, Joe Budden.
in that book, Emily is basically,
Joe
even
Rogan.
though she was like, her mom is like the president of Scientology or whatever, Emily never really cared for it. She was just
Mhm.
like, I just want to play music and skateboard. So she never really has a strong tie, or she never really, according to that book and based on her social media presence, she doesn't really have a strong tie to Scientology.
Yeah.
Right.
So
But also, even if she did, like, people still love Tom Cruise and
Yeah.
like,
People love,
like-
love a lot of people who are very religious.
Yes.
In the end, it's just
and like, as long
Yeah.
as she's not harming others and it's just on her own, who cares if she,
Right.
even if she was, like, clearly she's not, but even if she was a follower, who,
yeah, like people. Like I said, people are trying to nitpick and find something
Yeah.
to cancel
Right.
her over. Like just
of
hate.
course, it's because she's a
whatever they're
woman.
doing.
Let's be real.
My opinion is that
well, there's other things like not about her, like the Scientology thing. Like, so when Linkin Park announced Emily, Cedric from the Mars Volta made a huge
Right.
post about like kind of talking about how Emily, like her essentially her relationship to Danny Masterson, because Cedric's wife was one of the I think victims that were I don't know if she was fully raped or like sexually abused or something like that in Scientology. So then, he kind of was like public about his disapproval of her joining Linkin Park. And
Well, with that same argument, what if she was, let's say, a Christian or something? There are people who
there's
know
plenty.
people
yeah,
who get
that's
raped
the
in
the
all
only
those
connection that they
religions.
share the same religion.
Yeah,
that's not the same.
Yeah,
It's like saying because we're
exactly.
Muslim, we're connected to the
Terrorists.
terrorists, to
Yeah.
Al
Right.
Qaeda. Like what? Come on.
Yeah.
It is very much reaching, and it's
Everyone has
they have to have reason.
have
to
some
hate.
reason
yeah,
to
of
like
course.
this. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
biggest thing the biggest controversial thing is that why is Linkin Park coming back and making music without Chester at all? In my opinion, is that they're free to do whatever they want. It's their music.
Yeah.
They're the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
As much as we might feel bad that we lost someone we idolized, they
Mhm.
lost their best friend, their brother
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah,
They have the choice. Who are we to tell them, hey, you can't make music
Right.
anymore
and it must
because
have
of
been
your
hard.
band with that? We're banned
Because
with
of
that.
my feelings towards
Yeah,
it.
like
Yeah.
the audacity of that, and people are
Right.
still online. I still see it whenever I see Linkin Park posts like, "Oh, they shouldn't have come back. Oh, they're
Yeah.
so stupid for that. They're terrible. They're spitting on Chester's
Wow.
name. Like
Right.
you're spitting on Chester's name, saying
Right.
that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, he would be. I'm sure he would be
Chester
so
was
proud
a
of
loving guy. He would
Yeah.
have enjoyed all this.
And
and a
I'm
lot
sure his
like-
friends are struggling.
I
Yeah.
think all the vitriol that Linkin Park fans gave the band caused a lot of the issues that made some things happen, and like now we're just repeating the same mistakes.
Just say it.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say. The haters killed him.
Oh,
Wow. He definitely didn't take the
The hate properly or nicely at all.
when One More Light came out, and that was like the pop album, a lot of people were saying horrible things about
I'm
Linkin
sure they were
Park,
giving him
and
death threats, right?
not death threats, but
Oh, I
like
wouldn't be
they said a lot of
surprised.
bad things, and
Yeah.
he was also going through a tough time on his own as
Mhm.
is. So like when One More Light came out, the song One More Light is about a friend of the band that died from cancer. So like the band was going through a tough time as is. And then on top of that, everyone's like shitting on that album for being a sellout album, a pop album, and whatnot. And so he took a lot of that personally. I think he was like in and out of rehab at that time too. Like he was very private about his life, but I think he was also going through rehab at that time. So yeah, he went through a lot. It's one of those moments of like you don't know what people are going through. Like try to be nice to
Yeah.
people.
People view artists as just like commodity,
Yeah.
Mhm.
something to consume.
They don't think
Right.
they're human as well,
Yeah.
just like
Absolutely,
us, and they
yeah.
can say whatever,
And
and
then
then treat them
issue.
whatever.
Right. And then you have like the whole parasocial thing, right? Like with the social media and
Yeah.
whatnot. So like what mentioning how like people have their opinions about like why Linkin Park's coming back and whatnot, like all this like parasocial, like why do you think your opinion
Yeah,
of their band matters?
they
Yeah.
act like they
Like you
this is
can-
their belonging, their possession. They can
Mhm.
Yeah.
say or do whatever.
It's like owning a little bit of a sports team. People can have stock holds on sports team and they think they can have a say in stuff.
Do people own stocks in sport teams?
Yeah, you can. I didn't know this, but my coworkers say that you can have, because a coworker of mine has a stakehold in the Green Bay
Commanders?
Packers.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
that's that's the only sports team that's like publicly owned. There's no like one owner.
But see, but in this situation, they're
I
paying for it. Whereas Linkin Park, no one's paying Linkin Park to be Linkin Park. None of these fans should have a say in it. Whereas, like,
yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's wild. They treat it like it's like the Green Bay Packers, like it's a
Right.
sports team that they own. I forgot. It's not all teams. It's
A
a
publicly
specific that
owned
one.
commodity.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know much about sports. I just learned that recently from her.
And then like with
No, that's a good.
with music, like bands, like Linkin Park's not the first band to go through a loss of a singer
Mhm.
and then come back and still be
Who else?
like. So like AC/DC is an example. This is, I mean, now we're talking like different decades. So like AC/DC in the 70s or 80s, their original singer died not by suicide, but it was like an accidental overdose type thing. Or not accidental. He like choked on his own vomit. He was so drunk or something like that. So then they got a new singer, and their music still was just like everyone loves AC/DC.
Mhm.
Like that,
Mhm.
and then on top of AC/DC, you have another band. Alice in Chains is another band where their singer did die by overdose, and then a few years later they got another singer, and they're still like widely still popular or successful. But I guess the difference in that compared to Linkin Park is like the timing. Like you didn't have people's opinions on the internet back in the 70s
Yeah.
or the
Everything was out there
in
in
the
the
2000s.
open.
Yeah,
Everyone
They
has a
definitely had
platform
the
now.
opinion, but they couldn't
Right.
put it anywhere.
yeah. So like
Mm.
with Alice in Chains, like I think that was like early 2000s, so you sort of had like the social media MySpace thing happening, but like it's still or
It was
like
minor.
forums and whatnot. Yeah, it wasn't like what it is today, where
Yeah.
like social media is like in the forefront of everyone's
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
and everything.
Definitely. Dang.
So.
All right. Well, speaking of the internet,
Not everyone should have a platform.
And not and everyone
As
is
we're on
an
the podcast.
asshole.
as we're on the podcast,
As we're on the podcast,
and yeah, speaking of the internet, let's go deeper into the internet.
I mean,
Talk
everyone
about
can
some
have an
stories.
opinion.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
everyone's right though.
We got a
Everyone's
right
just
to
like
talk,
assholes. Everyone's got
but
them.
we're not telling people you should stop making music.
Yeah. And in fact, Linkin Park, you should make more music.
absolutely.
But not too much where you're stressed out, because
In
that would be
fact-
bad.
In fact, actually,
We don't want to stress them out.
do
No
what
pressure.
You wanna do.
I think Linkin Park should follow their hearts.
That's too much pressure.
the heart of the cards.
Just
pressure.
chill. Just chill.
Yeah.
Just be happy.
Just allow people live and let be, right?
Live and let be.
Live and let be.
Yeah. True. All right.
Are we doing this? I'm so
I guess
ready.
you're ready for your
I'm so
story.
ready. I am.
Read us your story.
All right.
So, back onto our newest segment. We're reading Am I the Asshole?
Am I the asshole?
Nice.
Nope.
We should get a button for Am I
I'm
the
gonna-
asshole?
Mustard!
What is that from?
It's a new Kendrick song.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Where did that come
Whoa.
Oh my god.
I feel like you're telling Kendrick to stop making music, and we just went over that. Like,
No, he should make music with Linkin Park.
from? That would probably.
But I would
I mean,
listen-
they do have a song with
then I would
Busta
listen to
Rhymes
it.
back in the day.
They had a song Busta Rhymes. They did their
Jay-Z
collab with
album.
Jay-Z.
Oh yeah.
I'll be, okay,
Numb
this is another
remix.
side like thing. I didn't know Fort Minor. Mike should know.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I didn't know that connection until like a year
Years
after
later.
listening to Fort
Yeah.
Minor.
Fort
And then I
Minor.
was like, I'm stupid.
It's yeah, that was Mike Shinoda's little side project that he didn't want to put his name
Yeah.
on it because it was a lot of like his friends in the industry.
Mm.
So Styles of Beyond being one of them. So John Legend's on that album, Common's on that
Yeah.
album. So a lot of well-known artists as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, calling it Fort Minor and stuff.
And I think it aged really well because I was listening to the other day, and it was
Yeah. I think
Chef's
it
kiss.
helped some people's careers take off because like Holly Brooke on Where'd You Go, like she changed her name to Skylar Grey, but then Skylar Grey also
Oh,
became
Oh.
like Eminem, like all
Yeah,
those
she was
songs.
like
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
the name's
Cool.
Skylar Grey.
Yeah,
Right. So
Oh.
all that
Mike,
too.
man, he's everywhere.
All right, you guys ready? Here's the title. Am I the asshole for uninviting my parents to my wedding after my mom said my fiance wasn't eager to marry me and told me I can't wear white? So she's 30, female. I got engaged a few weeks ago and I'm incredibly excited. We actually already have a beautiful, happy 4-year-old daughter together. We've been living together since my daughter was born and have been together for 7 years now, so it already feels like we're married. And we want to make it official before starting to try out for our second one. I met my fiance, Joey, 33 male, my first year of law school. We started dating, and in the fall of my last year of law school, I found out I was pregnant. I was only 25 at the time and was getting ready to start my career and wasn't married and engaged, so this was a terrifying experience. Luckily, Joey was supportive of me. He said he'd respect whatever decision I made. His parents were terrified. And thought that I should get an abortion, but they were understanding. Initially, I was going to terminate the pregnancy and went to the clinic twice, but I couldn't go through with it. I come from an ultra conservative Christian family, and my mom especially doesn't think people should have sex before marriage. My 2 older sisters got married in their early 20s and are now stay-at-home moms. I'm the only sister who graduated from college, is no longer religious, and has career goals. When I told them I was pregnant, my parents were devastated. My mom cried, called me used goods, and asked how could I allow this to happen. They said Joey and I needed to get married since we were having a child together, and I explained that we didn't want to rush into that. My mom called me selfish and said neither of us were putting our baby first. They didn't speak to us until my baby girl was born because they were so upset that I got pregnant outside of wedlock and that I didn't marry Joey before the baby arrived. I see them a few times a year. They certainly love my daughter and are definitely a huge disappointment to them. This is kind of boring, guys.
I was getting invested. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'll keep
Joey,
going.
your life is boring and your daughter sucks.
Sorry. My future in-laws, on the other hand, are extremely kind and helpful during the pregnancy. They helped cover my medical care and even rented an apartment for me and Joey to live in after the baby was born, since we didn't start working for a few months after we graduated. While I was studying for the bar exam, Joey's mom did a ton of babysitting and was always there to help if I needed a few hours to myself. I'm so grateful to them and even closer to Joey's mom than my own mom at this point. When we told Joey's parents about the engagement, his mom cried and said how happy she was for us and our daughter. She also said she was proud of us because we stuck together and made it the most of things when life wasn't going as planned. She offered to help with the wedding and said we want to pay it ourselves. We want a very small ceremony with our immediate families, a few close friends, and our daughter. We really want it to be about celebrating our family and our little girl and don't need a huge ceremony. I told my parents the news last night since we got into town for Thanksgiving. Oh, this is recent. Oh my God, okay. They didn't seem excited. My mom asked if we were having a religious ceremony, and I said no. I explained that we want a small, low-key wedding and that we're just eager to get married and make it official. My mom then turned to my fiancé and said he clearly wasn't too eager since he got me pregnant and lived with me for 4 years before asking me to marry him. Joey explained that he's known he wanted to marry me for years, but we were focused on our daughter, our careers, and getting our loans paid off, and have been treading water since we graduated from school. My mom then told him that she's ruined her dreams of her daughter getting married since the event was being spoiled now that they're living together and already have a child. She told me I can't in conscience wear white at my wedding since I'm not a virgin and have continued to sacrifice my purity. Typically, I laugh off my mom's comments, but I started crying. I told my mom that I've tried my best in life and don't need her constant judgments. My mom said I'm clearly ashamed of my life choices and that's why I'm crying. I asked how anyone could be ashamed of my life choices when I have such a beautiful little girl. My mom said that we should have gotten married years ago for our child and that we're clearly not committed to each other. I told my mom that I no longer want her at my wedding because she's been nothing but cruel since I got pregnant, and I only want people who love and support us at the celebration. My dad said he wasn't going if my mom wasn't included, and I said that's fine with me. I cried myself to sleep, and Joey was furious about my mother treating me so terribly. He told me that he called and asked my dad's permission before he proposed, and my dad was so rude. He said that he'd say no if it weren't for the fact that they had a child together. He also accused Joey of using me for sex and not stepping up for my daughter and marrying me sooner. Joey didn't want to upset me, and he thought it was relevant in the light of the fact the parents clearly weren't warming up to the situation. Needless to say, he doesn't blame me for not wanting them at the wedding. He feels uncomfortable having them there, too, after all the comments they've made. This morning, I got a call from one of my older sisters. She told me I broke our mother's heart again. I'd be cruel to not include her in the wedding. She also said Mom has loved and supported me and my daughter, even though she strongly disagrees with my life choices. My sister says I've made my choices and I can't expect everyone to like and agree with them, but my family is family and I should include my mother. She also said that if my parents aren't included, she won't be there either. Am I the asshole?
No.
Yeah, that's a long story.
It's so
Yeah,
long.
so-
You gotta vet these stories.
Yeah,
better.
next time I'll read it.
I say no. I vote no.
Yeah, I vote no.
This is a
too.
voting thing, right? We're all voting.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, one
Can we
person
have
gets to speak
signs?
for the crowd.
Can we have little signs
This
next
is
time?
for the audience. They need to hear though
Yeah.
too.
Well, yeah.
You need to post that whole story on the video too.
Oh my god, that was too long.
Size 6 font.
Yeah.
Next time I will get a different one. That was way too long and a little boring. Sorry.
Oh, I
that
mean,
was very.
we were talking about this earlier. I feel like some of the am I the asshole stories, right? Like the ones that are not that salacious are probably the ones that like happen
Most
often.
realistic.
Oh, yeah.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Like
This is very realistic.
that probably
Those definitely
happens.
happen.
to
Yeah. Conservative parents, you have
people.
Oh,
they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
like
yeah.
the child, they don't like the partner, or they don't like the marriage situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's definitely not the asshole. For moms can be an ass. You
Yeah.
protect your own peace.
Yeah, I don't like the sister.
No
trying
one's
to
no
emotionally
one in
blackmail
her
her,
family's
saying
defending
family's
her.
family.
Yeah.
but
No
her
one's
family didn't
defend
give
her,
the same
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
grace.
only if they agree with the
Facts.
same thoughts as that family.
Love is unconditional, but sometimes it can be a little conditional.
Deep-rooted Christian family.
That was
somewhere.
a long proverb.
Love is unconditional sometimes.
until it is.
Until it isn't.
Yeah, that's a very clear one.
Yeah.
I think she's in her right. It's like it's your wedding. You should be able to choose who gets to be there.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah.
It would break my
Yeah.
heart. I think of like my own mom, and if she wasn't gonna be there, even if she was being an ass, it would suck, and I wouldn't want her there for being an ass. But gosh, that must hurt a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy that this is his daughter's 4 years old or something,
Mhm.
and like at this point you have to forget
Accept
the
it.
past and like
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
just
is
move
it.
on,
And
let them get
clearly
married.
they're working together. They have a good relationship. Like the dad still said, "Oh, you didn't step up." I'm like, what do you mean he didn't step up?
He's been
right there. He's
yeah,
been a good father according to the story.
And that guy was also in law school too, right?
yeah. They were both
they're
in
both
school.
lawyers. Yeah, so
They're both in school, and then they had to graduate, and then they had to build their careers. On top of having a 4-year-old daughter, getting married was the last thing on their mind. Like, we're already doing everything that's marriage.
Yeah.
Like, doing all the official stuff is just a step. It's not like the end. It's just But the parents being so religious is what
It's
caused them
another
to go
case of
crazy.
fundamentalism. Also, I didn't know that thing about the wedding dresses.
Oh
like,
yeah, the
it's
white is
white.
pure. You're supposed to be a virgin, but that's why you wear white.
link back to
So-
Christianity,
Is that
more
and
just a-
conservatism and stuff.
Yeah. That's why it's, funny when
That's why
Americans
South
wear
Asian
white.
dresses are red.
What dresses?
What?
Why?
No, that is not why you
Wait,
slut.
why?
Oh my god.
What?
He said that's why South Asian dresses are red, because none of us are pure.
Because we're all dirty.
Filthy creatures.
That's
Someone else do a better Am I the Asshole? This was shit. Your turns.
Who's
I
got
didn't-
one?
I didn't pick one.
Oh my
It's
god.
literally.
You're too busy spilling soda on my couch.
No, I was going through Reddit. It's all trash, man. It's all same. They're all paragraphs.
we need that sperm eating story, something of that caliber.
Yeah,
okay,
apparently
okay.
Ariba dropped a really good one after the podcast last time.
Okay, let me go ahead and just tell a little, refresher of it while they're looking things up.
No,
So-
I can
we
just
don't-
tell a random one.
Yeah,
You want to
yeah.
just spin the asshole roulette?
Yeah, let's do it. Damn, what if I got an abortion without
Am
telling
I
my
the
husband?
asshole for uninviting? I think this is the same one.
Wait, did it say uninviting my mom because
I
of
mean,
my eager?
apparently-
Oh, this was the.
I
I
just
think this will be an
picked the
interesting
same
one.
one.
I got one. All right. Am
Do
I
you
the
have one?
asshole for having another man fix the things in my house after my husband refused?
No.
So I, 26 female, am using a throwaway due to my husband knowing my real Reddit account. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? So my husband and I have been married for about 4 years. The past year, I've been asking him to replace our refrigerator, install a ballet bar, pole, and mirror in our apartment because I do just about everything else in our house. I'm bad with tools, and he's good with them. I have literally asked for the whole past year, and every time I ask, my husband has an excuse as to why he can't do it. Today, I finally caved in and asked maintenance if they could at least replace our refrigerator. Mind you, maintenance is only here for if something is broken or needs to be fixed. Maintenance doesn't do any type of remodeling issues. I told the maintenance worker that I was gifted a Smeg refrigerator. That's a terrible brand name. Smeg from my sister and wanted it installed instead of the old one. He was kind enough and redid it for me. He also reorganized my fridge for me as well. From there, the maintenance man gave me his number and said that I can just text him if I ever need anything else done instead of submitting a work ticket online. A week later, I texted him to see if he could do all the things that my husband refused. He was kind and said, sure. Within 5 minutes of me sending him a message, he came, installed my pole, ballet bar, and mirror in our apartment. I tried to tip him, but he told me no. I thanked him and he left. My husband came back from work and noticed the changes. I explained to him what the maintenance man did, and needless to say, my husband was livid. He accused the maintenance guy of trying to sleep with me and said that he doesn't want any man in the house when I'm not there. He said that it was an asshole thing to do, that I'm trying to sleep with him and get another man's attention. So am I the asshole?
No.
No.
He's a maintenance man. His whole job is to do maintenance, and you didn't do it for a whole year that she asked you.
And she said the husband is good with tools and enjoys doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
Why is he just
Confused.
withholding
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be like,
doing
"Hey,
things?
I'm busy, but I'll get to it later." But it sounds like
Yeah.
he's just not doing it.
It's been a
He
year.
says
There's no
no.
getting to it
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
I don't
Also,
think
is this like a condo situation? Like, why do you have a maintenance guy?
Probably.
it sounded like
Yeah.
it. She said apartment.
How big is this apartment? You can have a ballet bar and
My-
a pole.
Yeah. What the
Right.
heck?
My
mirror
question is,
setup.
why did he just automatically jump to, the maintenance dude
He's trying to.
whose job it is to do maintenance is trying to sleep with you? Like,
Can't please your woman, someone else will.
He watches too many videos. at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
He might be. He's
busy
a
doing
gooner.
that.
He's a
Gooner.
gooner.
He's a gooner.
He's too busy doing that
That's why
instead
he's
of fixing all
no
the shit.
energy to
Yeah.
do the other stuff.
You know, I've actually seen a TikTok of that before.
Of
And the girl-
gooners?
But at the very end of it,
Wait,
well, no, sorry, not a TikTok. I saw a video of that at one point. At the very end, she did end up sleeping with the maintenance dude.
Oh, damn.
That's a different thing
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah.
That's
Installed that pole, all right.
Who else got one? There you go. You happy?
I thought it was going to be the applause.
Yeah, Reeve's not really good at labeling those.
I don't have a juicy one, but I have that Pokemon one.
Ooh, tell us.
Pokemon
Alright.
one.
So it's the
Pokemon Go.
am I the asshole for divorcing my wife over her Pokemon Go obsession? So
BTW, I like Pokemon Go, and he plays every other game in the world.
'Cause
So-
they're good.
Yeah.
slightly long post, so I'll try to read this well. All right. So I, 42 male, recently asked my wife, 36 female, for a divorce after being together for 14 years. In 2016, after the birth of our first child, 8 male, she downloaded Pokemon Go to help her keep active while recovering from a traumatic birth experience. In the beginning, it was a fun game for her, and we'd go out together with our kid, challenging each other to see who could get the most Pokemon. When I came off paternity leave, I stopped playing. Life got too busy as I got a promotion to assistant manager for my firm. It's quite a big business, so this was a big deal for us and our family. Because our income changed so much due to this, we decided together that she would become a stay-at-home mom. She had so many crafty interests and loved home decorating, so it made sense she'd stay at home to pursue these passions. In 2019, we fell pregnant again. Our second baby, 4 male, was born in the height of the pandemic. My wife developed postpartum depression due to not being able to see our family, feeling alone as I worked still, and being stuck in the house all day long with 2 young children. This was not a good time for her, and I could do little to support her as I worked long hours in the pandemic and was caring for my dying father. She vowed to not have another child after this experience, but I always dreamed of a big family and wanted at least one more child as we are financially stable enough. But we talked about it, and she decided to go on birth control. In 2023, she had a cryptic pregnancy and found out she was pregnant 8 months in. I supported her so much.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's the real story. There.
That's
What's
what,
that
how did you
cryptic?
not know in
Like
8
a
months?
term? Cryptic
Yeah,
pregnancy?
is that
She had a cryptic pregnancy and found out she was pregnant 8 months in.
Whoa.
what does that mean? Cryptic pregnant? Like
Like she was going to give, she found
she
out
got
you
a
did.
message and the bottle said, "You are now pregnant."
8
8
months.
months in.
8 months in.
It's a riddle.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Fucking real.
I supported her so much through the last month, but due to work stress, I could not get paternity leave. She picked up Pokemon Go again, and as a way to cope this shocking life change, but she showed no signs of postpartum depression, or so I thought. I came home one day in January, and she had our daughter, 10 months at the time, crawling across the floor towards 3 separate Pokemon plushies. When I asked her what she was doing, she said our daughter needed to choose her starter Pokemon.
Wait, that's so cute. I would do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that she was pushing her obsession onto our daughter at such a young age,
This
but
guy's just not a nerd.
it made her happy, so I allowed the Pokemon baby grows blankets and plushies to take over the nursery. Months passed and she stopped mentioning Pokemon Go as much. She'd take our daughter out to the local park every other day to get some fresh air and meet with the mom and baby group in the area. I believe I believed this. She had done this prior with our other children, so I thought nothing of it. That was until when I came home last month and found her crying at the kitchen table. I instantly was concerned as she never really shows her emotion this much. When I asked what had happened, she told me she had been crossing the road when a bus came out of nowhere and almost hit her and the baby stroller. I contacted the bus company to get the security footage so I could sue them over emotional distress, as this was as this had really shook my wife. But when I got the footage, I could see she had confidently crossed the road, eyes on her phone. She was playing Pokemon Go. She had endangered our daughter over Pokemon Go. I couldn't believe this. All trust I had for my wife was gone. I could barely believe that she would almost kill our daughter over a dumb mobile game. I can't even look at her. The only thing I could think to do is divorce her, and I don't love her anymore and have lost all trust. When I told her,
that's a turn.
when I told her, she flipped out and is refusing to let me see my children anymore, despite the fact we live in the same house. Her family are messaging her constantly to stop being so controlling over her hobbies and forgive her for one mistake. Am I the asshole?
Okay, at first you were.
Yeah, that's what I thought. At first,
Yeah.
I thought he was the asshole, and then it took a turn when the actual
When the baby
When
got
the bus
involved, the
turned.
bus.
When the bus turned.
Oh, nice play on words, babe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're so negligent that you don't see a bus coming and
Yeah.
you're walking onto traffic
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
on your game, that's really bad.
That's-
Because before it was
yeah.
just a hobby, and fine, you're not nerdy enough to understand the amazingness of Pokemon Go, whatever. But endangering your own child, and I never endanger my dogs when I walk them and play Pokemon Go. I put the phone down when I cross the street. I always do. I just want to put that out there. That's so fucked up. Yeah, no, he's not the asshole at the end. At the very beginning, he should
They
have
had
gotten
us in the
over it.
first half.
Yeah.
I'm saying that.
He was an asshole. He should
That
have
one
calmed
had
down.
like a Shyamalan-esque twist.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Where it
It's
was
like,
like
damn, you didn't
it
know
was a
about
turn,
choosing your
but not
starter
good enough.
Pokemon, you freak.
It was a very anticlimactic climax. Yes.
It's interesting. He went from, well, I guess when you're endangering your daughter, instantly like,
Yes,
I mean,
I don't
yes.
love my wife anymore.
Well,
Like, those are
yes,
pretty-
I would be
Yeah.
that way
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
it sounds a bit extreme if you just read that last sentence in the first
It's
sentence.
just-
Yeah.
Damn, all right, calm down, bro.
It was phrased well to make you read the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think you needed the whole story to understand why this is an actual issue that she was having versus
Right.
just, oh, she's just like Pokemon Go. Oh, she almost killed her child.
Right.
No, she was addicted to it.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we gotta ask the questions. Did all the? It sounded like she didn't want all these kids. Maybe not even the first one. So was this all related to her? Like this is her postpartum.
Oh.
Like, did
because-
she actually have postpartum
yeah.
depression and whatnot?
Like
Yeah.
is she all related?
She
She,
must
didn't want
have.
any of these pregnancies. They were all bad for her.
Hmm.
Probably physically from what it was describing. Was
Second
a Pokemon
one.
Go all coping mechanism, and
Guys,
because of that,
I'm so sorry, but Yuki's falling asleep on Rahib's foot, and it's so cute.
no one can hear you.
Reek,
If they're
Yuki,
whispering.
Yuki fell asleep on.
Her chin is just on your
Yeah,
toe.
her chin is just chilling.
She does that.
She's just levitating on your foot. It's so cute.
That is ridiculous.
I'm so sorry. I wish you guys could see this. But it's really cute.
They can't even see this on the camera.
I know. Like,
And now you woke her up.
no, she's still there.
Anyway, stop distracting us
Sorry.
from the real issues here. Pokemon Go
Pokemon Go's
should be canceled.
killing people.
Pokemon Go needs to be shut
Always
down.
Look both ways before you cross the street, as Barney
I think
always
that was like a
said.
news article when the Pokemon Go was in its fervor when it first came out.
Oh.
Yeah.
People were getting into accidents
Yeah.
because they were just glued on their phones walking
Yeah.
outside and not noticing.
But there's a warning on the app. Why would they not
because
listen?
they had to put that there because people were
Yeah,
fucking.
they didn't listen to that.
There's a
people-
user agreement on iTunes. I never. They own me.
For all I know, man, they're
Yeah.
selling my organs the minute I
Spotify,
die.
Yeah.
Well, Pokemon Go is not what's it called? Liable for any damages done to you while playing
That's
the game.
why companies have that, like the first
That's
thing
why
in a
lawyers
contract.
exist.
That's like lawyers
Yeah.
exist.
to make sure that is included.
Absolutely, and good for them because people are stupid. They kill their babies almost.
There should be like a thing on phones. Well, I mean, it could go really wrong, but like if your phone was able to like by GPS be like, oh, you're coming up to like a crosswalk, like look up or something like that.
But see,
They
as
have
a
that
human, you should be
technology.
looking up anyways.
I mean, that's
Yes,
a lot
but,
of
like,
things. Like as a
it's-
human, you should be on your phone in your car. But like the Teslas have that system because they have the autopilot. But they have cameras inside the car too, so they use that whenever your autopilot is on,
Mhm.
and they can tell if there's a something in your hand, aka a phone, if your eyes aren't looking at the in front of you, or if you're looking elsewhere in the road, it'll beep and it'll say, "Hey, pay attention to the road."
Right.
If it does that too many times, it'll shut off autopilot and make you take control.
Yeah, it happens to
Things like
Rahib all
that.
the time.
Whoa,
All the time.
whoa!
Almost every time, actually.
Accusations.
Accusations.
Doing
Careful
it
who
in the
you
car.
I
point
have
that
proof.
finger.
You have
All
one.
right, I think I got one.
You got one? Do tell. Last
Juicy.
one.
Am I the asshole for kicking my cousin and her fiance out of my home after he insulted my breasts?
Wait, what?
That was gonna be a wedding one, but it's like no.
I was like, yeah, it sounded,
My
it
house.
sounded like mine for a
You made
second.
fun of my
Out of my
boobs.
house after he insulted my breasts. I, 29 female, recently bought a condo and finally had the time to have some friends and family over. My cousin and her fiance drove up from San Diego to my place in Los Angeles and planned on sleeping over last night and driving home today. I've always been close with this particular cousin of mine, but because of the distance between us, we don't get together as much as we used to. I've never really been a fan of her fiance, but I've tolerated him up until last night. My cousin was talking about how she can never find any good tops that fit her well because of how large her breasts are. I, on the other hand, barely even fit into a bra because my breasts are so small. I don't even bother wearing a bra
Giggling.
because it's
Damn.
I don't even
She
bother
wrote
wearing a bra
it.
because it's unnecessary.
Yeah, she wrote it. I'm
To a
just
certain
laughing.
extent, this is something I occasionally feel self-conscious about. My cousin's fiance looked at me and said, This is a problem you obviously don't have. I'm sure if you were topless, no one would even notice."
Oh damn! You kept going. I was
Why
like,
would you
the
say
first part was
that?
already bad, but why you kept going?
Why?
I was completely flabbergasted.
Went for the finisher.
My cousin sort of laughed and told her fiance he wasn't allowed to drink anymore.
Damn.
I was standing there
That's so
speechless
mean.
and horribly embarrassed, not to mention the fact that my other guests heard this. One of my guy friends was there and he looked shocked, but came to my defense and said, "Well, actually, I have seen her topless on accident." And she said, "Without a doubt, has the cutest nipples I've ever seen."
Excuse me, sir, but I love her mosquito butt titties.
I'm gonna let you finish, but her titties are the best in town.
I know he was trying to help, but this only made things even more awkward. It was beyond embarrassing. At this point, I was just furious. I told my cousin and her fiance that they were no longer allowed to spend the night and that they needed to leave. I explained, although I don't feel like I really needed to. I explained, although I don't feel like I really needed to, that I was simply not going to be disrespected in my own home. Okay, too many commas. Obviously, they didn't like hearing this, and I said I was a horrible person. How dare I do this, etc. It's not like they didn't have anywhere to go. Traffic would not have been bad driving back to San Diego anyways. They got other guests of mine riled up, which resulted in the majority of them, with the exception of my guy friend, telling me that I was being hysterical and unkind. Now I feel crazy and gaslit. I don't know what to do.
Weird
She's
thing to
not an
say.
asshole.
No.
If someone
That-
disrespects you in your home,
And out of nowhere,
I'm
like,
surprised they weren't fighting. Like straight
Yeah.
up fisticuffs.
yeah.
and it came out of nowhere. It's not like she made fun of her first. Like, she just turned to her and said, "Oh yeah, you wouldn't know, or like you wouldn't get that
Yeah.
feeling."
You wouldn't know, you small titty bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Hey, bro.
Like, where did that come from? And she was letting them stay in her house out of the kindness of her heart. She didn't
Yeah.
have to. They could have driven back in the first place.
Some
And then her
people-
guests were being mean about it.
Yeah. So I think people are on different pages about what's appropriate to joke about and what's not.
But like in front of who too?
That's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. If it was like just them four or them three,
Yeah.
it's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
Right.
inappropriate, but it's like maybe that could have been
But
controlled
like maybe
more.
they were like long time.
Yeah,
They've been doing this
yeah.
for a while.
But
yeah.
this is the whole party.
The whole
Everyone's just
You're
right there.
Just calm down, bro. You're scaring the hoes, man. Come on. Come on.
And the one guy friend, his approach was just so like
His heart was there, but the execution was a.
Oh my God, it's like a Linda. Yeah.
This
He's just like, it's my time to shine.
actually.
is like a plot of some really bad sitcom. It's like the guy who has like the friend zone guy coming into friend. Actually, no, her titties are spectacular.
Oh. Well, yeah, no,
All
she's
titties
definitely not an
matter.
asshole. She's not the asshole. I think her guests and that cousin and fiance were assholes. The friend was just stupid. A kind
friend
stu-
tried.
At
He
least
tried.
Very tried.
Yeah.
At
Very
least
much
someone was
tried.
on her side.
At least
He
someone was,
tried.
yeah.
The cousin's boyfriend.
Fiance.
I don't understand. Like, you know,
No
what's-
filter.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of the times this happens to flat-chested women. It's almost like people go around, and I'm guilty of it too back in college, but it's almost like everyone thinks it's okay to make fun of flat-chested women, but no one makes fun of voluminous-chested women, voluptuous-chested women.
Voluminous.
Well, but
Thank
I guess
you.
voluminous works
You know what I
too.
mean? You know what I mean, though. Like, no one ever says, "Your tits are huge."
Why'd you do that? You're like, volume. I too agree. The volume of this woman
But
is
you know what I mean?
amazing.
Like,
Just
no-
a man of physics.
No one goes up to big boobed people. No one goes up to medium sized girls. Like, no one ever made fun of my chest. I'm just a
Yeah.
medium girl. But like flat chested people constantly.
I
and
think
it was
has
just-
to-
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
continue.
It was just yeah.
Yeah, I think it also is probably connected to like what is considered conventionally attractive in whatever
Right.
period of time
Yeah.
that you're talking about. Like things go in and out of fashion, right? Like
Mhm.
small breasts
Are in right now.
maybe in right now, but they might not be in
Yeah,
the
that's
future. And
true.
it like goes back and forth.
And it's probably rooted in misogyny, like most things.
I think it's a lot of that. Yeah.
You know,
Patriarchy.
we have to judge a woman by their looks and by their assets that they can't control or whatever. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think women would judge other women by their looks if men didn't do it first.
I wish I could
Ours.
believe that, but I feel like there's just so much.
As a
Female
woman,
on-
how do you?
As a woman, I
Feel.
think that a lot of women are brought up to be jealous and hate on other women. I mean, I have coworkers who look at a very attractive coworker of mine and be like, "Oh, her clothes are inappropriate." I'm like, "No, she just has a skinny body and her clothes fit her, and like her boobs are covered, her butt is covered." But women still will hate on women purely out of jealousy. Nothing about men. I don't think men are the problem. I think women just hate on women and aren't taught to love each other.
Are they?
Truly.
Is it like? Because this is also probably true with men being threatened by sexuality.
Yes. Like we know
And, like-
people who are very beautiful and very sexy in their own ways. And we know people who not you guys.
Thank you.
Definitely not you guys.
Thank
But
you.
no, but you know what I mean? Like, and then we know girls who will hate those other girls because they are beautiful or comfortable in their sexuality. And that's just girl on girl jealousy, hate for no reason.
Come on, girl.
Like, I will tell you, I'll give you a big example. Back in the day, I used to be one of those girls where I'm like, oh my God, why is she so pretty? Then I watched Hannah Montana and I was like, wow, Miley Cyrus is so pretty. I don't hate her. I kind of want to be like her. And I realized, like, oh, I shouldn't be jealous of other girls. I should look at what they have and see, like, oh, what can I maybe emanate in a good way, not in an unhealthy way, but like in a, oh, her hair's long, maybe I would look good in long hair. Something that I could do that was healthy, but also not hating on her. You know?
Hannah Montana taught you that?
Yes, isn't that weird? I
Yes.
watched Hannah Montana and I was like, because before that I was like, oh, these girls are so pretty. What the fuck? Like, why don't? As a kid, I'm like, I want to be pretty, but then I was like, no, like she can be pretty and I can be pretty. Like that's what Hannah Montana taught me.
Where do you
Isn't
think
that
that
weird?
came from, though?
That's a pretty good
It w-
thing to
I
take
don't.
from
I
it,
think it was the
yeah.
wig change. She went from blonde to brunette, and I was like,
Oh,
wow.
no. I mean, like, in your earlier, younger days of, like, seeing, like, the jealousy aspect. Where do you think that came from?
The jealousy part,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe
You wanna
TV
say
shows,
probably
maybe
aunties? Like,
maybe
so you heard-
aunties.
you heard
Yeah, I heard a
aunties.
lot of
Yeah.
aunties always compare me to their children in front of them, behind their backs, things like that.
And as a kid, I feel like if you see that one time, you pick it up. And
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
sponge when you're a kid. You just pick up what
that's
your
why I think it's so
relatives or
important to
aunts,
teach
parents, whatever
kids
say.
to be nice to each other, but also like see someone's beauty and be like, oh, you're great, but I am too. And I don't need to be like you or be jealous of you or hate you.
Mm.
I can be a little envious and be like, oh, I wish I had long hair, but not hate you for it. That's the part that
Yeah.
people don't teach kids is you don't need to hate the person just because they're a little bit better or prettier or whatever. Hannah Montana taught me that.
internal validation
just like-
versus external validation.
Yes.
Appreciate diversity.
Yes, it's a little mixture of both of those, yeah. But I think girls have a harder time when it comes to vanity stuff, whereas males, it's more about like strength. Even if you don't look physically strong, if you're actually strong versus, you know, Yeah.
That's also
That's a
how our
vanity thing.
society works. Is one thing I saw recently was like how in our capitalist society, the three things that you can profit off of most is one, men's lust, or their either lust for like sex or lust for power, or into
Status.
women's quest for like vanity to look as beautiful as young as possible, and then old people making sure they stay alive for as long as possible.
Is that the
The
third
fear
thing?
of the fear of death. So the fear
Those
of
first two are super connected too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what do men want? They always want to either satisfy their urges or to be as strong as possible and still satisfy their urges and stuff. Women, and then look at all the beauty products we have in this world to make women as young and beautiful as possible, or make them at least think they're as beautiful as possible. They fear aging. Olay anti-aging wrinkle cream.
I want to.
And that's also why men typically, I mean, I don't have data to support this, but I think everyone can agree, usually older men date down in age.
Yes.
And like cougars exist, but like men are taught,
Yeah.
I don't have to date my age. Physical beauty is more accessible to me, even if I'm not in that same age bracket. Like,
I think shallow men are like that, where they'll go after the younger women because of the vanity part. Whereas I think true men, guys who actually think and like want a deeper connection, not just a face that to look at or, you know, a thing to fuck, but like someone that can actually have a conversation with you or whatever, you know? But I think the generation of men that are as shallow as they used to be are going away. I think it's less like that. Maybe.
I met a sugar daddy couple once
Oh,
when I was working
never
in college.
mind.
yeah.
That's the only one I've ever met in my life.
And
from what I can
usually,
tell.
like, the instances I see of that, they both seem happy.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
both
yeah.
sides like,
Like,
in
being
the end,
like-
it's
It
a
should be
consensual
consensual,
relationship.
yeah.
I mean,
so
yeah, of course,
do
like,
what they want, but
consensual, of
we're just
course, but,
making
like-
social commentary here. But yeah, I mean, this is very clear. Like,
The woman is getting validation from
yeah,
a man,
Yeah.
and a man is getting validation in the form of like, I have a young, beautiful
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Sometimes it is true love. I guess that is sometimes it.
Sometimes
It's
true
a-
love can
it's-
just be meeting needs in the form of like validation, I guess.
It could be. It
True
doesn't
love
be
can be shallow. In the simplest way, it is.
Is shallow love still true?
Wow.
It
I was saying
is,
that
if you
no,
stick with it.
gets- there's some situations where it is actually true love. They just happen to be different ages,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're the
Oh,
same.
yeah.
soul.
Oh, yes,
I'm
yes,
talking
yes.
about like
Yeah.
He's talking about sugar daddies
like the
and
70-20s.
well, no. Sometimes there is situations where it could be true love. I will give you a really
In
good
the
example,
70-20s?
and I'll give you an example.
Martin
Okay.
Scorsese.
I'll give you a really good one. I mean, okay, it's not a really good one. He is filthy rich, Hugh Hefner. But he had that one blonde chick that was married to him on that House Bunny show that he had a long time ago on MTV.
We're talking about Hugh Hefner?
Yeah.
Playboy
Oh.
guy Hugh
Yeah,
Hefner?
yeah,
I don't know. That's a good example.
I feel like
I
it's not a
know.
good
I said that
example.
wasn't a good. I said it wasn't a good example. After I said it was.
Wasn't he married to Anna? Not Anna.
The man who has
Aniston,
routinely used
Aniston.
women as symbols of status.
Right, but like he did fall in love with one of them for reals. Aside from the beauty and the
Yeah,
sex
I mean,
and the
if
whatever.
I was about to croak, I'd want some good connection.
listen, I wasn't trying to make it all dirty. He could have been in love. See, that's the thing. We just want to assume that the dirty scumbag old man is not in love. He just wants something sexy, and we want to assume that the young hot woman is in it for the money. I'm not saying that's not true. I think 90% of the time it is true, but I'm saying there is that 10% that it could not be true, that they actually are in love, and it's just weird in our eyes because of the way they look. But like mentally, think about it. Some people are like the same age, even though
I
they
was
might be
thinking
years
about
apart.
it mentally, right? It's like, and everyone has their own parameters for what love is.
Yeah.
For some people, it's like the ability to be on the same mental page and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
70-20, what kind of conversation?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Well, it depends if the
different life
70-year-old
experiences. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it has to be a really special case. So
I
What if the
guess. I'm not saying
20-year-old
it's impossible. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's. I
Well,
think it's a rare exception.
I think like maybe if the 20-year-old is really into like history and the 70-year-old is like
That's
really into modern day tech.
I lived it.
This would be a sick rom-com.
I'm just
lived
saying.
it.
I'm just
I
saying.
mean,
like,
it was like that was Modern Family, right?
Leonardo
That
DiCaprio
Benjamin
and
Button or
oh
something like that?
yeah,
Was it what?
Benjamin Button or something?
Is that what Benjamin Button was about?
Well, no, he's like aging backwards.
aging backwards or something.
Like,
He started
right,
as a-
essentially.
I
reverse.
don't know.
Yeah.
But remember the sitcom Modern Family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 3 different family
Jay.
types. But the one of them was the old man and the really
Yeah.
hot Sofia
Young
Vergara.
wife, Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
like-
hot Sophia Vergara. Yeah.
That's
That's
all.
true.
Say
Yeah.
less.
I mean, she is.
So,
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's true.
And so,
Yeah,
but the
but like-
they're playing the stereotype.
Yeah.
But the
But they're in
they were in
love.
They
love.
are meant
though.
to represent that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
See, they're the 10% that are
Yeah,
in
but it's also a
love.
fictional show.
That's true.
So
Hey,
But even the
they're
show,
representing.
she's like 40 or mid-40s or something, right?
I want to say
I think she's 30s.
30s.
Yeah, she's
But
very young.
the whole point of the show was that each family played like a very stereotypical family, but in the end they were deeper than that.
Yeah,
There was a
Yeah.
stereotypical gay family. There was a stereotypical
that's true.
white two-picket
hetero,
fence. You know,
hetero,
yeah.
hetero,
family.
hetero,
Hetero.
hetero.
Yeah.
But like when I think of like the age gap thing, the South Asian examples tend to come up more. Like in our
But they do it when they're
that was
12.
like super common too.
Yeah, because that's like more
like
of
even
a
our parents probably
child.
have a really big gap that would freak us out.
My
if we
parents
looked
have
at
2
it.
years.
our parents probably not as much, but like our grandparents and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like in
Huge.
South Asian culture, 10 years is normal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Yeah,
like-
But
it's a lot more
like-
normalized.
But I'm also saying like 10 years outside of a South Asian context is not. That's not weird.
No.
It's not weird. But like I'm thinking of like our fupi is
Oh yeah,
midget fupi, right?
yeah. Very big age gap between her
Right,
husband.
because her husband is more or less the same age as our grandfather would have been today,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and she's
she married someone her dad's age.
right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's simply how to put it. That right, and that's and we've made that joke that like Fupi and Dadi were pregnant at the same time with
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
yeah. So like that's what I think of like that huge age gap. Like I don't know how their marriage. I mean, their marriage
It's
obviously
weird when it's
lasted,
your
but like,
family.
did they have much in common? What their interaction was like? I have no idea. I mean, they have 3 kids, but like
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
I'm sure you
weird
see
when
that a
it's.
lot.
not trying to like air our family's laundry out, but like it's just like again like that huge age gap of like in South Asian cultures, like
It's weird when it's your
Yeah.
family. Like out loud, any other couple, it's like, oh, whatever, it's love. But then when you hear it's your own family, it's like,
but like it happens a lot in South Asian cultures.
yeah, it
though.
happens more than.
But, like,
often.
Yeah,
It
so
does.
it's less weird because I feel like we have the South Asian
Yeah.
context in mind.
I'm used to it. So
I'm
I'm
used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like back then it was about like
yeah.
safety,
It's been explained
security,
as-
and
Yeah, stuff like
religion
that.
and all that stuff
strengthening
too.
the family and
yeah.
The earlier you got married, the more.
Actually, if you
good,
go back in any
good it
culture,
is.
like marrying for love is pretty new.
Yeah,
as a
that's
yes,
what I'm
concept.
yeah.
Even in American context.
It's a
a-
70s and 70s
But back
vibe.
in the day, if you go back
an
100 years,
alliance.
people just got married for protection, for safety,
yeah.
Power.
to get land and
Yeah.
land.
Like you
Power.
For the
marry,
fucking land.
you marry your daughter off to someone that
Yeah.
that can take care of.
Provide- yeah.
All the cows and sheeps.
All yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's all
But
about.
now, but I think because we live in such a great society where we have more leisure and things are less about like land and power and like no one really cares about that kind of stuff anymore. People can fall in love, which is nice. Which then throws me off and makes me wonder why people marry for not love and marry for other reasons when you can marry for love. You have the choice when you didn't back in the day.
What?
People get married for like just religious reasons, not real love. It's just it doesn't
I
make
mean,
sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
But like,
security. Right?
are
it's the same, I
people
guess.
falling in love as more often these days? Like if you think like
How
I
do
mean,
we
they-
quantify?
how do you?
That's true. That is true.
We can talk
but
anecdotally,
why
though,
do you
like,
need to
how
be
does it
married for
feel?
security?
Right.
You said for security. Why do you need nowadays? Why does anyone need to be married for security reasons? Like back
Because
then,
people, I can't afford a house.
well then don't get a
Let
house.
me
Why
marry.
do you need a house for? Why do you
I
need
mean,
to have a
the-
house as
a
a?
simple logic, it's easier to pay for things when there's
yeah,
two people.
there's
than
Well,
two
no,
one.
no.
You know?
That's different. That's like, well, because security, I'm thinking is more like the guy takes care of the girl, right? Security.
Okay,
Like
well,
the trad wife.
Yeah.
Even there's still you're safer with one person versus living alone.
I don't know,
Who
man.
knows-
I can
God
take
knows
care of
what can
myself. I don't
happen.
need no man.
Yeah, I don't need a man until something bad happens, and then
Hey.
you need
I just
not even a
need-
man. Another person in the house is always
Then
a
I
partner.
get the maintenance guy.
And then you get a maintenance guy
Who's gonna
who's
install the
trying,
ballet
who's trying to
pole?
put a pole up in your house.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
We're gonna do that.
in the house.
And then what? And then
That was a
what?
fire ass callback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was good. That's how you end
That's
the podcast.
when you do that. Choo choo choo.
You happy? All right, then. That's good. Yeah. On that note, that'll be all for today's episode. If you're on Spotify, please let us know what you thought of the Am I the Asshole questions. Were they the assholes? Were they not? And let us know your opinions on the new Linkin Park album. We'll see you guys
Bye.
next time. Hey guys, Rahib here. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button to get a notification whenever there's a new video. If you want to support the channel, check out the merch shop, as well as the Buy Me a Coffee page and the Patreon page to get monthly benefits such as exclusive BTS content, unedited podcasts, and early access to all the videos. All the funds help grow the channel and keep it afloat, so any and all help is appreciated. All the links are in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.